Read over the weekend, how to invest in the face of rising inflation and rising interest rates. This week the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics said the Consumer Price Index in December had risen 7% from a year earlier, bringing inflation close to a 40-year high. There was a bit of improvement in the Producer Price Index, with a December increase of 9.7% from a year earlier, down from 9.8% in November. Rex Nutting breaks down the causes of inflation during 2021 while also considering whether the Federal Reserve's expected moves to raise interest rates can even work in slowing price increases. Hayrace more coverage of inflation and the Federal Reserve's reaction. America's housing market is in the grip of an inflation storm. Hulbert, everyone thinks inflation will stick around. These 3 accurate models say otherwise. Inflation was killing my grocery budget. Meal delivery company uses inflation fears in latest ad. Supply chain backlogs may never clear as long as U.S. consumer demand persists, says RBC Capital Markets. Fed's George urges faster drawdown of $8.5 trillion in assets and more normal interest rate strategy for mistakes the Powell Fed made. From a former insider, how to invest in the rising rate environment. This list of banks expected to see the largest increases in earnings includes 2 based in Boston. Getty Images / iStockphoto. The pandemic bull market for stocks has been driven in part by historically low interest rates. For much of 2020, the yield on 10-year U.S. Treasury notes was below the S&P 500 index's dividend yield, though even income-seeking investors were attracted to stocks, which had growth potential in addition to a competitive yield. But investors have been anticipating a tougher time for stocks in the rising rate environment of 2022, especially tech stocks that trade at high price-to-earnings ratios. Here are some investment ideas suited to this new environment. Bet against tech and these other winners from the Fed's loose policies, says Bank of America strategist. For reasons why value stocks are poised to outperform growth in 2022. And 14 stocks to consider. These bank stocks are in the best position to benefit from rising interest rates. These S&P 500 stocks have cratered, but analysts think 12 can turn it around with rebounds of up to 70%. What market signals really tell you? Hayrace, how the S&P 500 index and its 11 sectors have performed this year through 10 a.m. Eastern Time on January 14th. In ascending order, index price change, 2022 price change. 2021 S&P 500 index minus 2.2%, 26.9% real estate, minus 6.4%, 33.3% healthcare, minus 4.8%, 18.2% information technology, minus 4.7%, 27% consumer discretionary, minus 3.9%, 18.9% utilities, minus 3.0%. 10.6% communication services, minus 2.3%, 17.8% materials, minus 2.0%, 22.5% consumer staples, minus 0.5%, 15% industrials, 0%, 19.4% financials, 4.1%, 38% energy, 15.4%, 70.5% source. FactSet. It's easy to read into these results and predict what's in store for the rest of 2022. Mark Hulbert weighs the usefulness of the January barometer is a useful measure for investors. Where to move if you want to have fun on rail trails. Switchbacks connect Frostburg, Maryland, to the Great Allegheny Passage. Great Allegheny Passage. Conservancy. Silvia Ascarelli writes the Where Should I Retire column. This week she helps a reader who is ready to retire and move to a small town with easy access to hiking and biking trails, kayaking, and other joys of the natural world. A home purchase budget of $200,000 makes this a tall order, but here are 3 possible locations. Regardless of your budget or preferences for weather and amenities, you should try MarketWatch's retirement location tool for your own custom search. It includes data for more than 3,000 U.S. counties and incorporates climate risk retirement lessons and plans. Alessandra Melito writes the Help Me Retire column, not only to help people plan big post-career moves, but to help them solve problems after they have retired. This week she does something different, sharing lessons learned by a reader who retired years before she was eligible for Medicare and then suffered serious health problems. On a related note, Richard Connor advises people planning for retirement to think carefully about their possible needs if they age in place and their health eventually turns for the worse. 5 crucial steps for boosting your career in this tight labor market. Getty Images. For those who don't want to join in the Great Resignation, the Great Reshuffle, now happening within companies, also creates career opportunities. Carol Innes, a career coach, walks you through how to position yourself for the next opportunity. Financial crime pays until it doesn't. Lucas I. Albert writes the Financial Crime column, which can help all of us understand how easy it is to be victimized. The stories can also be entertaining, if we care to admit it. Hayrace. A sampling of recent coverage. Founder of nationwide tax prep firm sentenced to prison for skimming $70 million in exorbitant fees over a 5-year period. CEO admits stealing $15 million from her company to finance clothing boutique, Plaza Hotel visits, and $200,000 on relatives' wedding. Bad judgment. New Orleans judge charged with allegedly failing to pay taxes on cash she earned officiating weddings. Semiconductors are in demand. Getty Images. A shortage of computer chips has been commonly cited by corporate executives talking about supply shortages and price increases. Hey, race a breakdown of exchange-traded funds that cover the semiconductor space as well as 44 stock held by those ETFs and crypto market. Watch illustration / iStockphoto. Mark DeCamber writes the ETF wrap column with performance highlights and various industry features. This week he talks to Benchmark Investment CEO Kevin Kelly, who makes the case that Ether is a better investment play than Bitcoin for 2022. Want more from MarketWatch? Sign up for this and other newsletters and get the latest news, personal finance, and investing advice.